This is a short video for a discrete element modeling of particles in a two-dimensional plane. So in this first video you can see we've got about 30 to 40 particles, diameter of roughly about 15, which due to the influence of gravity and damping settle fairly rapidly, and that's something that happens to most of these simulations. This second one, however, is very interesting, and it shows the high damping to mass ratio. The damping is much higher than it should be for this given mass, and some of them are suspended in midair due to the damping forces on each other, which cancel out. This third one, particles are larger, n equals 100 here. Fourth video, particles are same size, damping is turned down, and n equals about 200. The n equals 300. Last final video is n equals 400. For computational reasons, the circles are not filled. And you can see energy still leaves the system very quickly due to the amount of damping that is existent in the programming. This is the code for the simulation. So as you can see here, I've got 3 different M files: sysmain, particle properties, particle contact, and wall contact. Sysmain is where everything happens. Got different sections here. In the main first section of the main file, you've got your boundaries here, your different properties, time stuff, and your initial conditions, which is taken in from your particle properties up here. You calculate. That's where you make your X matrix. It's usually for a 2D simulation, your X matrix will be 2 times n rows by t columns, where n is the number of particles and t is the number of time steps. So here you plot it in 2D. You can skip some to speed up the process, and we make a video down here. That's the main particles, particle properties. You ask for mass, radius, and initial position. You've got to give it the number of particles you want and the boundaries. You've got what you want your smallest to be, the range for a random mass. Then it assigns a random radius, which mass is proportional to the volume. And then down here it assigns a random position within the 2D plane. And that's all read into this right there. Now we come down here to calculating. You're going to want to calculate the force pier y and pier x. That just means against each particle contact. So here we go. We're reading in. We want the forces. We have to tell it what the current x vector is. Current v vector, number of particles, radius, spring and damping constants. Down here, you add up the spring constant, you add up the damping constant down here, then you add it to the vector. And you go back through for every particle against every other particle and output it. Goes back here. And then that goes into those. And you ask for the force wall, X and Y positions for every particle. You go into here, wall contact. Now in this program we have a spring constant, damping constant for particles, and a separate spring constant, damping constant for the wall. So this is the wall one. Those specific constants are read in here, but in this function they're just referred to as, K and C. outside the function, they're referred to as KW/CW. Back into the function, got your spring force, you add it up, looping through every particle. Got your damping force, you add those for the current position of each particle. You go back here, so now you have particle forces, wall forces. Now, we find the acceleration by dividing the forces, the sum of the forces, by the mass, sum of the forces in the y direction minus the gravitational acceleration divided by mass. And we get the total acceleration for the x and y directions. We integrate that and get the velocities in those directions. Integrate that, we get the change in position. And then this simply corrals things, and if any slip through, it will just peg them at 150. So then we plot it. Gives us a weight bar. Gives us a frame for making a video. We go through with the color, and if you have different size particles, we'll give you different masses for each, of course, and each mass will have a different color associated with the smaller ones. Move faster, so they get a red color, while larger ones move slower with the blue color. So then we plot the circles. It's held on for each time through. You want to get every single circle, and then after one iteration of all the circles being plotted to the screen, it's hold off, they get cleared, and then you're back through for the next position of every single circle. Do that, video loads, and that is that.